Disaster management teams in KZN say they're on high alert following an alert for possible flooding today. The South African Weather Service has issued a warning for disruptive rains in parts of the province. Coastal areas such as eThekwini Metro and the districts of Ugu, Ilembe, King Cetshwayo and Mkhanyakude are said to be most affected. KZN, of course, has been experiencing heavy rainfall, triggering flooding that's claimed the lives of at least 13 people this weekend alone. Let's get your sense of the way forward now. Bring in the SA Weather Services forecaster, Lehlohonolo Thobela, certainly no stranger to us here at Newzroom Afrika, back live to us via our video link today. Great to have you on the program, Lehlohonolo. Thanks once again for making time. Really concerning what's taking place in KZN, and now you've issued a warning for possible widespread and disruptive rainfall, flash flooding and strong winds.
Good morning and thanks for having me. Yes, you're right. I think we have two levels of disruptive rain, especially over the northeastern provinces, which would also include the eastern parts. We should have KwaZulu-Natal, as you've mentioned. KwaZulu-Natal is expecting orange level 5 warning, which means the impact would be significant with a medium likelihood of it happening. However, in the most provinces, which would be the eastern parts of the Free State province, Gauteng, the eastern half of the Northwest province, as well as Mpumalanga and Limpopo, and not leaving out the eastern half of the Eastern Cape province, that's when we're expecting a yellow level 2, which has a high likelihood of it happening, but the impacts might be minor. If you consider the orange level 5 warning for disruptive rain over KwaZulu-Natal, this is mainly due to the impact that the water has caused over the area. I mean, it's not only the waterlogged roads that we've seen and saturated land, but it's also the infrastructure that's been damaged. With the rainfall that's still expected over the amount of time, then it would increase the impact, especially for the people that are staying in KwaZulu-Natal.
Absolutely. And what is it about our current system, Lehlohonolo, that's led to so much rain? I mean, KZN has been experiencing these downpours literally non-stop since December last year. And it feels like even in Johannesburg, there's been a whole lot more rain in the past 2 weeks than we've had for most of the summer, really.
Yeah, for sure. I think, we've had a lot of severe thunderstorms in the area, especially the Highveld. So the thing is, if you notice, KwaZulu-Natal is positioned in the eastern half or eastern part of the country, and most of the storms that develop over Free State in the eastern half of Free State end up in KwaZulu-Natal because as they move east, and you have storms that also sometimes develop over parts of the eastern half of the Eastern Cape that move easterly and end up in KwaZulu-Natal. But in all those things happening, we were experiencing, or rather expecting, weather extremes with the current conditions and atmospheric conditions. Also, it doesn't help that we are in the late summer where we experience much more of the tropical moisture from the northern parts of the country, which then helps in the activation of rainfall and much more of the convective weather that happens over the eastern half. So as you've said, that KwaZulu-Natal have experienced much more of these rains, but we've experienced, I think, quite a frequency of severe thunderstorms, and storms in general have increased in terms of the eastern parts of the country, as we have seen as the start of January. And with that, they bring much more of heavy rain, but not only heavy rain. With most of the storms that have happened this week, they've at least reported hail in some parts. Could be small amounts of hail, and in some parts large amounts of hail. So it's just difference of how or whether the severe thunderstorm impacts you. Some are impacted with strong winds and some with heavy rain that results in that much of the flooding conditions as we've seen over KwaZulu-Natal. But not only limited to KwaZulu-Natal, the eastern half or rather eastern parts of the Northwest province have also experienced quite a number of severe thunderstorms that resulted in a magnitude, or rather water depth, of about 86 to about 90 millimeters of rain in about 2 hours, with that severe thunderstorm having had an impact of a cloudburst in an area around Mafikeng. So it's not only limited to certain areas, but I think the Highveld as a whole have been experiencing severe thunderstorms.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just that there's a large amount of water, it's that it's heavy rainfall in a short space of time, and that makes the environment for flooding, which is what we've seen in a lot of parts of the country. My weather app is telling me the situation is likely to start clearing on Friday. Firstly, is that accurate? And what's the situation for the rest of the country?
Good weather app you have there, my brother. Depends on where you'll be. I think I can just only hope it's from the South African Weather Service, the app you're using, because that's what we have in the northeastern parts we're experiencing, or rather we expect yeah, it's just a 30% chance of showers and rain, mainly along the east coast of KwaZulu-Natal, and a 30% chance of showers and thunder showers expected over the northern province, or rather the northern parts of the Northern Cape. That's where we expect the 30% on Friday. However, most parts of the country would be partly cloudy and warm with some hot conditions over the southwestern parts, where we're experiencing fine conditions with very hot conditions over northern parts of the Northern Cape on most parts of Friday into the weekend. As you're moving into weekend to the start of the new week, we're still having isolated to a scattered chance of showers and thunder showers, but just limited over the central parts. So it looks like, yes, we might see just a bit of a break from the disruptive rain as well as some tropical influence from the northern part.
It's certainly good to hear, and we look forward to that in some respects. Lehlohonolo Thobela, as always, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Lehlohonolo is a forecaster with the SA Weather Service.